Wow. Wow. Got a new headset, Astrum headsets, man. Noise cancellation. Wow. This is really incredible.
ZipZap Auto has expanded into one of the largest independent auto repair shops in the valley. With 23 bays, over 12,000 square feet, ZipZap is your one-stop shop, offering 24-hour smog test, oil changes, detailing, bodywork, engine, and transmission rebuild.
Wow.
And ZipZap provides free.
Yeah, so I got this new headset company, Ashton, man. It's unbelievable. So, you know what it's like? It's like when you put on sunglasses and you don't wear them and you're like, holy shit, look at that. That's what these headsets are like. Man. So I had a busy day today. I did the JT and Looney podcast, and then I was on. Do you guys know who Coach JB is from Last Chance U? I was on his show, and man, that was fun. Wow. How much time we got? Look at this. Look at this new thing I got. Sweet as that.
Raider Nation Radio 920 AM KRLP Las Vegas.
You're listening to the JT the Brick Show, where the Raider Nation has come to sound off and react for over 20 years.
It's the JT the Brick Show, broadcasting live from the Finley Cadillac Performance Studio.
Raiders bring a blitz. He takes up off the middle, and he's wrapped up from behind. Max Crosby.
Your silver and black home to sound off for over 25 years.
Open at the 35, racing to the 20, 10, touchdown Raiders.
And now, here's JT the Brick.
Out of the gate, JT, as we begin live on a gorgeous day today. Can you imagine, Bobby, if every day was like today? If every day was 77, a high of 81, a low of 65, and we can just print this for the rest of our lives. What a great time to be in Vegas. It doesn't have to be 95. Hey, welcome to pool season. May 1st is pool season. Are you pool ready? We got all these casinos, for those who are listening out of market, we got a few of them. Oh, if they get a rainy day, if they get a cold day, man, they lose money. We want the sun to be out. We want the bottles popping. Do you know in Las Vegas, you can swim up in a pool. You can swim up to a blackjack table, play $1,000 a hand, and have bottle service, a bottle that costs about $14, which will sell it to you for $1,200. And you can drink bottle service in a cabana, play blackjack with a DJ. They don't do that anywhere else other than Vegas. And I've always said I'm from New York. They have this place called Atlantic City. Ugh. You know, you can't do that because you bring all the loud New Yorkers in. I know I'm one of them. You bring all the Vinny Boom Bots in, you bring them all in, and they ruin it. Here in Vegas, everybody just likes to chill. They want to go to the pool party, man. They want to have bottle service. And then when they're done with the pool, they go to their room. They're in a casino. And then they go out to a concert, a nightclub. Man, what do we have in town? I think the wife's going to see Jelly Roll at Allegiant Stadium. How we just had, wait a second. We just had AC/DC, WrestleMania, and now Jelly Roll? Oh, Mark Davis, congratulations, man. Build it and they will come. What were we doing in this city before the Raiders came and built a football stadium? Thanks to that tiny little hotel tax, no one looks at it. When they check out, they don't look at it. And now, who are those bums, Bobby, that said before the Raiders moved here, it'll fail, it'll never work. Oh, that stadium's going to be a ripoff. 10 years from now, it won't. No, it worked great. It worked great. Now everybody wants to copy us. It works great. Welcome to the show. I told Bobby I did more than I should have today. First off, I did a podcast with Coach JB. Remember him from Last Chance U, the big show on Netflix, the coach? He asked me to come on his podcast today, and I raised my voice. My voice is shot, and we went nuts for about a half hour. That was a really good. I'm going to go on there again. They love me. And then I did the JT and Looney podcast on this stream, on our YouTube, JT the Brick YT. We did about 45 minutes on the Lakers loss. And now we got this show, and I'm ready to rip it as always. Here's what we're going to do today. Yesterday, you failed me. You just left me hanging. If I had a life vest on, you left me in the ocean. You didn't call the Coast Guard. You just left me hanging. You're not going to do that today. Yesterday's topic, no one bid on. I thought it was a great topic. What was your number one takeaway from the draft? Mine was Spytek and Carroll's communication and how great it was. A lot of people hit me on Twitter, but we want to hear you on the phones. 702-365-9200. So Levi Edwards joins us at the bottom of the hour. If you remember, he joined us before the draft a couple of weeks ago and went on a deep dive on the roster, right? He gave us the roster before the draft. So I asked Levi to be ready today to give us the roster after the draft. Now, I don't dive heavy into undrafted free agents. You sign this guy, that guy. Let me know when they make the team. When they make the team, let me know. But this is different, man. I got to look at this differently. More work, more prep. There's a lot of guys who are going to make the team who are undrafted because that's the system of Pete Carroll. You don't have to be a first-round pick. You don't have to drive a fancy car. You didn't have to play at LSU or Alabama to play for Pete Carroll. So Pete Carroll might walk by practice one day and see this undrafted free agent and pull him over and say, hey, son, man, those last two practices, you were so good. I'm going to move you up to the second team. And then that player is going to make the team, and then he might play, which I love. That's the new thing we have here. Not that guys couldn't make the team under Antonio Pierce and Josh McDaniels and John Gruden. This is different. Can't we all respect the former coaches and say it's different now? Competition Pete is going to do things dramatically different. From practice, nutrition, weightlifting, days off, days where you work a little bit harder, basketball days, days where they go in the pool. They might go to a movie. I don't know. It's different. I can't wait for it because the last couple of things didn't work. So we're going to try something new with a proven winner. So the new roster is set. I don't want to take calls on the back end of the roster. I don't. There's a big show. We like to do big boy radio. So Ashton Genty, we had that interview. Gino, I spent some time with Gino at the draft party, and AJ Cole. And it's time to look at this team as a winner. When I was speaking to Coach JB today, he was pretty impressed. He's like, man, the Raiders, he knew Pete Carroll. He knew a couple of the players. He's like, JT, this is just a different team. And you can tell a lot of people are doing their draft grades and their analysis. And you see it on Fox and ESPN, and you see it on NFL Network. Everybody is, I don't want to say giving the Raiders their flowers, but they're acknowledging the fact that the Raiders did pretty good in the draft, like an A or an A+. And if everybody's doing it, it's pretty active and it's pretty accurate. The problem is we don't want to talk about what they did on paper. We want to see it on the field. But they're not playing football for a long time. So I can talk about hope. I can talk and praise the draft. I can ask you, what do you think is going to be the new look team and how the Raiders are going to win? And the thing that I keep going back to is this. Here's what I keep going back to. The running game. We, the Raider Nation, have a legit running game now with Ashton Genty and Raheem Mostert. It's good. And we got two outside receivers in the draft who block, and they will take your head off downfield. They will take your head off, especially Besh, who's just a freak. So we got guys who can block, and Brock can block. A lot of times you don't want Brock really just pure blocking in the tight end. Michael Mayer can do that. He's with the team. But the running game is going to shorten the game, which means that the Raiders are going to be able to eat some clock, move the chains, have some explosive touchdowns, and be able to close out games. My new hot topic that I'm going to probably talk about a lot is the fact that the Raiders at the end of the game with the lead could win the game on the ground. They're not going to be in 3rd and 9 and have to throw. And if it's incomplete, the other team gets the ball. We can now hand it off 3 times in a row and get 4 yards, 6 yards, 3 yards, 8 yards, 7 yards. Last year, we couldn't run it from me to you. We couldn't push the pile. We couldn't get a push and get a running back to get a yard. Oh, were we terrible. How the hell were we that bad last year? I don't know, maybe the offensive line? Maybe the scheme. Maybe we were so bleeping predictable. We were so predictable. No disrespect to Norv and his son. No disrespect, but we run it into the pile. I sit in section 132, and my son says, Dad, they're going to hand it off up the middle. I go, how do you know? He goes, that's all we do. We don't do anything. It's over. We got Chip Kelly. We're not going to run it into the pile on 2 plays in a row. We might bounce it outside and lose a yard, but then Chip will do something, Zippy Zawa will do something crazy with some formation, and we'll get an 8-yard gain. Why were we so conservative on offense since we moved to Las Vegas? Other than Gruden had a lot of cool plays. Come on, coach. But why were we so conservative in the McDaniels era, which I didn't think would be conservative because of his success on offense? I didn't. I got that wrong, and you let me know. Bo Hardigree, why were we so conservative on offense? We didn't do anything. I say play faster, no huddle. What, you never saw the no huddle before? They did no huddle in black and white photos in the 50s. Now we got some no huddle. Now we can play faster. We can play more violent, more aggressive, because we have Ashton Genty. So that's going to change everything. So I love that. And then that will close out the game late in the game without putting the ball in the air and jeopardizing the lead. And I hope Ashton doesn't fumble, right? He's got to hold on to the ball. When Ashton comes out on second down and we put in Mostert and he's only had 4 carries and it's the third quarter, he might run people over. He might be like, you kidding me? Ashton Genty's playing over me. Give me the ball. I'm Mostert. Watch what I can do. So we're going to have a violent rushing attack behind Jackson Powers Johnson, Colton Miller. We're going to run more violently, and we're going to run faster, and we're going to have a better scheme. Do we all agree on that? Everybody agrees on that. Now we got to find another corner or two and a linebacker. Well, we got some money left, don't we? What happens if we drop Jalen Ramsey in this thing? What happens if we drop Jalen Ramsey in for a year or 2? Fine by me. So whatever's going to happen here, the Raiders are a vastly different team in the offseason because of Geno, and the draft because of Ashton. I mean, come on, everybody. Gardner Minshew had a swashbuckling mustache. He's a good guy, kind of quirky but fun. Aiden's a good guy. Aiden's a great guy. We got Ashton Genty and Geno Smith and Brock Bowers and Jacoby Myers and Trey Tucker. And 2 new wide receivers who are going to play a lot. And 2 new offensive linemen who are going to make the team and seem to be animals. Who are maybe not start, but they'll move the pile. They'll come in. So the offense is much closer. The defense, I don't think there are any holes on the defensive line. I mean, how many guys you want on the defensive line? You want 18? You can't carry 18 defensive linemen. Aren't you good now? We got a new defensive tackle. We got Adam Butler. We got Christian Wilkins. We got Malcolm Kuntz. We got Tyree Wilson. And we got Max Crosby. How many more you want? I can't give you more. They won't make the team. Okay, so we're good. Then linebacker, we got Devin White. And the kid from Pittsburgh. Okay, I think we need another linebacker. I'll meet you halfway there. And then the corners, we got a corner high in the draft under Pete. And we got some long corners that we brought in. I think Jeremy Chin playing safety. He's a downhill guy who takes people's heads off. You got the best punter in football, top 3. And I think you got a top 3 kicker if he stays hot. So we're pretty good now. It's a good team. But the league doesn't give us any credit until we win a game. We got to win a game. I mean, Bobby, we got to open up the season. Schedule's coming out May 14th. And we're going to have 4 games, the first 4 games, the first quarter. We got to go 3-1 or 2-2. And if we start off 1-1 or 1-3, I think the team will be good enough character-wise to win and win 3 or 4 in a row. It's a different team, but you got to win games. But I got to do radio May, June, July, August. Ooh, that's 4. We have 12 months. That's a third of the year before we play football. Oh, no. We had some preseason games, thank God. We'll talk about that. So if you're a Raider fan, the draft, you've had a couple of days to digest it. What'd you think? 702-365-9200. All right, big topic of today, the Lakers are eliminated. I rarely watch an entire basketball game or an entire baseball game. I got a pretty busy life on radio. So I'm not going to sit there and watch a 9-inning baseball game unless my Yankees are in the playoffs. I'm not going to do it. And I'm not going to watch a full basketball game. I did last night. And my wife's like, man, you are worked up. I'm like, yeah, because the product I watched between the Wolves and the Lakers was such garbage, it started to smell my house up. And my house isn't in Los Angeles. It's in Summerlin. And I'm sitting there, and the Wolves missed 43 pointers. 40, not 4. They missed 43 pointers, and the coach continued to let them take threes. Fire the coach. I don't care that they won. Fire him. You could have took an elementary school basketball teacher in the upper deck in L.A. last night, brought him down, and said, hey, Chris Finch, J.J. Redick, get off. Get off the court, go to the locker room. And you could have found a fan, coach the game better. The Minnesota Timberwolves and Rudy Gobert. Bobby, we got this Gobert put back. Rudy Gobert had the greatest game of his life. He plays in the Olympics. He's a 4-time Defensive Player of the Year, not known for scoring. Shaq makes fun of him all the time. He had the greatest game of his life.
Dante wing right. He'll move to his left. He'll fire in a 3. It's offline. Rudy got the rebound and slammed it home. A new postseason career high, 27 points, and a new postseason career high, 21 rebounds for the big man.
He ended up having 24 rebounds, the greatest game of his life, and they couldn't get him the ball. The only reason he was having a great game is they kept missing threes, and he was getting the rebound and putting it back in. So I was telling my wife, I go, I've never seen a game coached that bad by a winning team. The team that won, the Wolves, the coach was so bad, I lost all respect for him. At one point, the Wolves missed 18 three-pointers in a row. In a row, they missed 40 in the game. And they were allowed to shoot threes. I would have benched everybody and said, you're not allowed to shoot a 3. If you shoot a 3, you're benched. He didn't do that. They were lucky to win. The Lakers, J.J. Redick stormed out of the press conference. He acted like a podcaster, which he is. He acted like a podcaster. He ran out of the post-game press conference because the questions got too tough. And then it comes down to LeBron James, who after the game was asked if he would retire or did he play his last game for the purple and gold.
Enter into an offseason on a roster that has Luka Doncic, that secured the number 3 seed in the West in a really tough West this year. What type of thoughts does that give you about your end game, and how many more years will we see you play?
I don't know. I don't have the answer to that. Something I'll sit down with my family, my wife, and my support group, and kind of just talk through it and see what happens, and then just have conversations with myself on how long I want to continue to play. I don't know the answer to that right now, to be honest. So,
Jeez, no athlete's ever sat down in front of their wife and kids and asked them if they should play again. Oh my God, give me a break. The guy makes $400,000 a game. He's the all-time leading scorer. He's not going to ask his wife if he can play again. Come on, I mean, you got to be kidding me. But if this was the NFL, as I told you, LeBron would be let go by his NFL team. Bill Belichick, Bill Walsh, Al Davis, whoever it was would say, LeBron, wow, man, you've been great. Thank you. Yep. Give him a big hug, goodbye. But LeBron controls the team. James Harden controls the Clippers. Joel Embiid, who's a bum, who's always hurt, he controls the Sixers. Even Jimmy Butler, who quit on Miami, controlled the Heat so much that he quit on Miami and got rewarded to go to the Warriors. I mean, are you kidding me? So I'd like to get your opinion on what LeBron should do. Can we handle that? I've been doing radio 30 years. Can we handle that? That's an easy topic. What would you recommend LeBron do? 702-365-9200. What you think he will do is different than what he will do. But I think he'll come back and play one more year for the Lakers with the Sun. But I think in theory, what he should do is he should go to the Rockets. Houston doesn't have any great leaders. Durant and LeBron, one of the two should try to race to get to the Rockets because the Rockets got 3 young guys under 23 who are great. And if they had LeBron as a mentor and a guy like that's where you want to go. And it's Luka Doncic's team. And oh my God, is that guy not in shape? Oh, Larry Bird at times looked like he wasn't in shape, but he was. But Larry Bird was a little bit slow at times, and he had a bad back. And Larry couldn't get up and down the court. Luka is young and just out of shape. Is someone going to tell him he's got to get in shape? Or are they just going to give him like $250 million and say, do what you do? He's a great player. He's got to get in shape. So that was interesting last night as I watched that game. It was a rough game to watch. And if you're a Laker fan or a Warrior fan, I love the NBA. I criticize it a lot. I do. I criticize the NBA a lot because I'm a talk show host. I criticize a lot of things. And I think the NBA product last night was so god-awful. It was so god-awful. I could not believe I watched it all. I was like, what am I doing? Like if a bad TV show was on and it was terrible, like the worst television show of all time is The Masked Singer. You got to be an idiot to watch that show. You got to be so stupid to watch The Masked Singer that you got to be so dumb and desperate. You must not have Netflix. You don't have Max. You don't have cable. If you're going to watch that garbage where people come sing karaoke with a mask on. I sing karaoke all the time. I don't have a mask because it will alter my voice. And then people guess who's wearing a bee's costume. Like, how stupid do you have to be to watch that? And it gets great ratings because people are zombies and they need to sit in front of a TV and medicate and watch something. I watched that NBA game last night. Oh, my God. I never, ever watched a game in my life where a team missed 43s until last night. I know your Celtics have. Your Celtics have missed 43s before, but they're the world champs, right? They're a great team. The Wolves missed 40. I couldn't believe it. That's the monologue brought to you by PT. Someday I'll have 9 callers on hold and I'll quit. I'm going to walk to Natalie and say I'm out. I accomplished all my goals. Until then, 702-365-9200. I'm on fire today. I'm worked up today. Dan in Vegas on 920. Hello, Dan. Start us off.
Hey, good morning. Good afternoon.
Yes.
Thanks for taking the call. Love your show.
Thank you.
LeBron is he's got to do what he's done his whole career. He just needs to move on and try to chase a title with another team. You got a good perspective with Houston. However, LeBron's he's not a mentor. He doesn't coach young talent. He has to be the center of attention. Here with the Lakers, he had no choice but to take the back seat to Luka, overweight, out of shape Luka. And that was a disaster of a basketball game last night. It was just, JJ, the coaching was terrible. It was just putrid. No adjustments, stuck to the small ball, and Gobert killed him. He's only there as a head coach because LeBron wanted him there. So I hope he moves on. He's been a great player in the NBA. I'm not going to take that away. But yeah, it was an awful performance. And as far as the Raiders go, they hit it out of the park with the draft. They hit every need they needed. They avoided any drama in some of the picks that were out there. I think it's nothing but positives going up. I haven't felt this good about being a Raider fan. I'm season ticket holder like you, JT, and it's been hard to watch, but I'm really excited for next year. So thank you very much for the call. For taking my call.
Thank you. Phenomenal phone call. Fantastic. Season ticket holder. Really excited about where the team's going. I can't do that because people say I'm a homer, and I say that every year. You're probably right. I apologize, and I want the Raiders to win. And they come out of every draft, and I think they're going to be better. I can't get it right every year. Raiders have struggled for 20 years to make the playoffs and win a playoff game. But I think you understand the role I'm in and the role you're in, and we're all season ticket holders or fans, if we are. We're trying to grow our YouTube channel for more than just Raider fans. We want Packer fans, and we want Seahawk fans, and we want Saint fans. We want everybody in here. But for the Raiders, I know they're on the right track because I'm inside the building. The people I talk to in football, a few of them, are just really calm and relaxed, and they like the way the team's going. And the most important guy that I talk to is Max. And Max and me are pretty tight. And Max feels pretty good about this, and I'll take Max's word. I don't play, he does. You're going to blame me and Max? We'll tell you the team's better. We had Ashton Genty on. I think he's going to be the X factor. We have a featured running back who has upside to be elite. Now he's going to have to be elite. He's going to have to be great, and I hope he is. That opens up a line for you. 702-365-9200 is the number. We'd like to hear from Warrior fans. Oh God, did the Warriors mail it in last night? So this is gonna freak out Warrior fans. There's two types of load management. One is the gutless load management where you don't play. You're not hurt. You just decide you need a night off. You shouldn't get one. You should not get a night off the whole year. It's only 82 games a year. You get days off throughout the week. Get days off every week. And you get timeouts and halftime. You get plenty of time off. So that's real gutless load management. But what about last night when the starters didn't play halfway through the third quarter? Oh, that's load management. Oh, that's load management, Warriors. You shut your team down in front of a full arena and a television audience and said, not tonight. We're done. We can't win. You weren't down a lot. You're only down 14. Steph hits a 3, you're down 11. Steph hits another 3, you're down 8. Pulled everybody. Wow. Warriors are pulling people in the third quarter? What the hell is that all about? Pulling people. Listen to Draymond Green understanding that he and his star players didn't have to play the game.
I mean, it is what it is. Obviously, it's not ideal to play that amount of minutes because if we're winning, play way more. But, yeah, we had a quick conversation, and he was just saying, I don't think we should chase it. I said, cool. We'll give it 5-6 minutes. We can't turn it fast and pull the plug.
Holy crap. He admitted. He admitted that they quit. He just admitted it. We caught him. He goes, yeah, we had a conversation with Kerr. He said, I'll give you about 5 minutes to turn this thing around. If we don't, we're done. Well, what about the fans who paid all that money to be there, to see Draymond and Steph and Jimmy? Oh, did they get a refund? Is there a section in the concourse where you get like 10% off or a beach towel? Or they give you a free beer? Wow. What has happened to society? What has happened with legalized quitting? I get you down 35. You're down 35. Pull the starters. I get it. Warriors are pulling starters in the third quarter. The Warriors had no intention to win that game. None. First 5 minutes of the game, they were checked out. But don't tell that to a Warrior fan. They'll think I'm lying. I'm not lying. I'm telling the truth. I tell the truth. I don't like that type of sports. I don't like when you quit and you get paid. If you don't get paid and you want to quit and go to the showers, go ahead. When you're getting paid, play the game. The monologue brought to you by PTs. They fuel the monologue. Man, they're going to have packed taverns tonight, Bobby. Golden Knights play. We have Ashley Weiss going to join us. Golden Knights reporter. And then we got Johnny Katz, who was on the floor for Sammy Hagar last night. And AC/DC updates and everything else. We got a big show. Levi Edwards coming up in 10 minutes. No, 35. That was a world-class monologue, man. World-class. No notes. Nothing. Yeah. Big D. Smash the like button.
The Morning Tailgate, weekdays at 7 a.m. on Raider Nation Radio, 920 a.m.
Boyd Gaming is the official and exclusive local casino partner of the Las Vegas Raiders at Allegiant Stadium. Bring your friends, have some fun, but always bet on black. Visit their 10 casinos across the valley. Don't let the game get out of hand. Please bet responsibly.
Personal injury law has been the same for a long time. Big egos, greed, and sleazy schemes. Big and loud doesn't always mean right. And the conventional mold doesn't define success. Goodbye, false quick buck promises. We've had enough. Welcome to Sam and Ash, the new standard for personal injury law, where things are done the right way, with integrity, experience, and authenticity. We're champions for the underdog. Life happens, and when you need help, you deserve a team without hidden agendas. A team that delivers real support and results. When you have both, your whole world can change. So if you've been hurt in a crash, call Sam and Ash, 702-303-0333. Sam and Ash, because you deserve what's right.
Modelo is an official cerveza of the
Today, my son just walked out of his final class, his final college class, and sent me a picture. And I'm pretty emotional right now because 12 years ago, he did this project as a little boy on Bryce Harper 12 years ago, and now he walks out of college.
Now comes the fun part.
Benefits are to keep air flowing through the boot to keep your foot cooler and drier throughout an extreme work day. The new Hawks Airflow Paver boot is your new
You gonna go the same route as the brother or what?
We don't know.
Hawks work boots only at Boot Bar.
Running a business gets more complicated every year, so you need a
Okay,
trusted
so I'm gonna let you talk for a minute.
Yep,
We're
we
gonna
got
go
to do Levi. I'll get to the chat in a second. Thank you.
management has been helping Nevada's self-insured businesses for over 20 years. Whether your business is retail,
Back in about a minute 40.
building, agriculture, or auto, our team has the expertise to make sure your coverage meets your needs and at a price that fits your budget. Our award-winning team keeps track of all the important regulatory issues that impact your
Time flies, man. Time flies.
compliance and inspections, because that's what you should expect from a trusted business partner. Find out how to have Pro Group Management work for you. Visit our website at pgnnv.com to receive a free cost savings analysis now. That's pgnnv.com. Or call our Las Vegas office at 702-740-4380. Pro Group Management.
Yep.
Comp that works for you.
Boyd Gaming is the official and exclusive local casino partner of the Las Vegas Raiders at Allegiant Stadium. Bring your friends, have some fun, but always bet on black. Visit their 10 casinos across the valley. Don't let the All right, so Levi on the roster.
The power of we believes in you. It advocates for you. It completes your circle. It makes sure you have the strongest circle possible. And with Intermountain Health and yours, you'll always have the care you need.
Well, you got about 24 to 48 hours of heavy LeBron talk for the national media.
Really? Well, yeah. Nobody mentioned Giannis, though. He got bounced also.
Yeah.
Kind of interesting. I mean,
Yeah, he got bounced too.
well, he may not be staying in Milwaukee. I'd rather have Giannis versus LeBron, but that's just me.
Welcome back to the
Here we go.
JT the Brick Show, brought to you by Tito's Handmade Vodka, America's original craft vodka. Visit Tito'sVodka.com.
Johnny Spytek did a great job of orchestrating. This was a big time rush for us getting through it all and starting the program up and the mini camp, the volunteer mini camp on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of draft week. And it was crazy. And John did a great job, and his guys was really proud of it.
Pete Carroll, how about that? He's proud of John Spytek. I love that. We're brought to you by Modelo. Talk to our team today at Constellation Brands. You know, Modelo is the #1 beer in America, proud partner of our show. Tomorrow's Friday. Celebrate a bucket of Modelo's with me, proud partner of our show. We're diving into the Raider roster. We haven't had much interaction from the fans on that. Maybe there's a draft pick you like more than another. Levi Edwards will join us in a minute on it. And what'd you think of Pete Carroll and John Spytek and the chemistry they had so far? You know, it's tough to dive in heavy to the draft because we got to see the players play. But, I mean, do you really have to see Ashton Jeanty play before you can talk about him? Do you really have to dive in deep and do this? You can talk about these players and the impact that they had here, and I thought the Raiders had a great draft. And a lot of people want Ashton Jeanty to be a star, and I think he was drafted to be a star. Don't be afraid to say that these guys need to start and play and become stars in this league because that's why they're Raiders. That's why John Spytek and Pete Carroll brought him in. Levi Edwards joins us from the Raiders digital team. So a couple of weeks ago, you had an unbelievable column on the roster. It was very detailed. Now I want to ask you about a couple of the drafted players that you're most excited about after meeting them, being on the field with them, seeing them, and conversing with them. Give me a couple of players, start at your own pace, that really excite you, Levi.
Well, I'm just going to start with the fact that we got a lot of freak athletes in this draft. And just the fact that you look at the measurables of some of these guys that we drafted, you look at the speed, like the 40 times, and you look at the verticals, and you look at their ability to make plays. I really do like that. So obviously you have Dante Thornton, guy who's 6'5", runs 4.3, only guy at the combine that has run that's run a 4.3 that was 6'5" or taller. Only two guys that have been able to do that at the receiver position have been Calvin Johnson and DK Metcalf. So that kind of tells you what you need to know about him in terms of what he could potentially be under the right coaching. Darian Porter, cornerback, was a need. Another guy, 6'4", 4.3 at the combine. Was topped all cornerbacks in several metrics at the event. So really good physical guy, and he's still learning how to be a cornerback. He played receiver, the first half of his college career, and then switched over to corner as a junior. So he really only has 3 seasons of his life playing cornerback, which is insane. And then Ashton Jeanty, a guy that is exactly what you want in terms of a short, stout running back who can break tackles, really hard to tackle. Jack Besh, a guy who's really tall, lengthy, 6'2", physical. Really, these guys, I just like that they have physical attributes, and I love that they have all of the athleticism to match with those physical attributes to make the team better.
I talked to Raider legend Mike Siani, who played with Freddie and Cliff, and one of the original Raider wide receivers, who was a big time recruit draft pick. And the first thing he said to me when we were talking about these receivers, Thornton and Besh, is their ability to block downfield. And now when you have guys who can push the pile and block linebackers and corners and safeties, once Ashton Jeanty or Mostert get the ball, that's a game changer, because these guys come up from the secondary and make tackles for a living. And I want to jump on these two receivers and how much they could play in a rotation. And it's a long way away. Raiders still might get a free agent receiver. But Levi, what do you like potentially about this rotation with Jacoby Myers and Trey Tucker and Bowers there, who plays tight end like a hybrid receiver, with all of those guys trying to get touches?
It really opens things up, just from the standpoint of there was no real true slot receiver last year. Mm-hmm. Last year you had Brock, who played a lot of snaps at slot receiver. However, he was still your inline tight end. And obviously with Mike Mayer coming back, that will kind of help in terms of being able to continue spreading out Brock. But we didn't have a true established slot receiver. So now you draft a guy like Besh, who can be a solid outside receiver. He can run all the routes that you need him to, be very physical on the outside. That allows for you to take a speed guy like Trey Tucker or a speed guy like Thornton, and you let them really exclusively play in the slot and really give them the opportunity to really, take the top off of defenses in the middle of that field, and also give, Myers a little bit more opportunity to do some other things, give a lot of your other playmakers opportunities to do other things. So that's what I really like about those picks, is just the fact that you get a lot more depth at outside receiver to give yourself the ability to really take one of these guys, and not even mentioning one of those later round guys like Tommy, who might be able to develop into a solid slot receiver, really give them that opportunity to really excel in that area.
Yeah, Levi Edwards is our guest from the digital team. You mentioned Tommy Mellott, the wide receiver, but quarterback, and then Cam Miller, the quarterback, there on the back end of this draft. I think for everything I've heard about Miller and the limited tape I've seen, I talked to a reporter who covered his career and said he's going to make the team. No doubt he's going to be the third string quarterback, and he's going to be pushing to be the second. He's got that mindset, but they drafted 2 quarterback athletes on the back end of the draft. I would never say a throwaway pick. These are guys who are valuable members now of the organization, but they could be hybrids at other positions.
For sure. And goes back to what I just said at the beginning, JT, about just drafting athletes. And just guys that have not just the physical tools, but the athletic attributes to follow with those traits. And Cam Miller is a guy I became familiar with him because I'm an FCS guy. I went to Stanford University, so I've got love for FCS football, obviously. And so I first really became familiar with Cam a couple of years ago, just keeping up with it. But I believe he nationally became exposed in his season opener against Colorado. And obviously Colorado opens up the season with a Monday game against North Dakota State, which is probably the worst team you could probably have to open up your season against for a money game, because they're a team that's going to come in and they're going to probably, try to beat you. And so Cam Miller came out and he really sliced the Buffalo's defense. And, that's a Buffalo's defense that had the Heisman winning cornerback, Travis Hunter, on it. Went toe to toe with them, 80 yards on the ground, completed 80% of his passes, just torched them. And the reason why, North Dakota State came up short is just because of special teams, to be honest with you. So it's one of those things where he has proven that he can compete with anybody, not just at the FCS level, but even, in non-conference games as well. He's a two-time national champion, and he can run the ball. And that's something that I really see is going to be the theme of this season with the draft class that came in, and the things that Pete Carroll and Chip Kelly are trying to put into place is they want to run the ball. The receivers that they drafted, they can block. You get the best running back in the class. You get some more guards, you get some more tackles. Like you're doing everything in place to show that you want to make plays out of the backfield. And I really think that that's going to be, very prevalent once we get to OTAs and once we get to, mini camp and training camp as well.
Levi Edwards, as we wrap it up. So Thayer Mumford, a 7th-round pick. When you look at DJ Glaze in the 3rd, well, we get now a 3rd-round pick in Caleb Rogers. And then Charles Grant from William and Mary. When I look at a smaller school, the 99th pick overall. So the Raiders had to get offensive linemen in this draft, had to. And I wanted bigger ones because it seems like that's what John Spytek likes. And Pete Carroll and Chip want to run the ball. So let me know a little bit about these offensive linemen here, a tackle and more of an interior guy here, because they're going to make the team. They should make the team. They're important pieces, but will they have the ability to attempt to start or be in a rotation where we can see them on the field a bunch?
Yeah, so Caleb, he played a lot of tackle in college. However, he started playing a lot more of those 2 guard positions in his senior season at Texas Tech. So I believe that he's going to be moved more into the interior and push one of those guard spots with Jordan Meredith and Kappa and Jordan Parham, Dylan Parham. So I really do think that he's going to be more of an interior guy, and it's going to be a great move for him because he still has all the physical attributes of a tackle, around 6'4", 300 pounds. So he's going to be great at one of those spots in terms of, being, really strong, having good athleticism. I think he can push for one of those 2 spots. As for Grant, obviously he's a smaller school guy, FCS, William and Mary. Fun fact, he had the 2nd highest offensive grade in the entire nation, FCS or FBS, at a 91.7, I believe. So he was the 2nd highest rated tackle. When you watch him on film, he dominated everyone. And that's what you want from a small school guy. If you're going to take somebody, from one of those lesser known schools, you want to see them on tape completely dominating everyone that came in front of them. And that's what you see with Grant. He was a guy that any defensive lineman that came at him, he really was able to manhandle him. And he has really good feet. I think he has good technique, good athleticism, and he's a former high school wrestler, something you should know. And I'm a wrestler, and it takes a lot of mental fortitude to really get gritty and be a really good wrestler. And it also helps with your technique and your footwork and also your stance. So just from him being an all-state wrestler in high school and also carrying that into college and helping with his technique as offensive lineman, I really like that as well. I don't think that's going to hurt. So for them to take him in the 3rd round that high just is a compliment to how good they really truly believe he can be. So I'm really excited to see what he can be. Obviously, there's going to be a little bit of a gap in the strength of the guys he was going up against in college versus the strength of the defensive line he's going to have to go up against in the NFL. But obviously, the Raiders have one of the top-notch strength programs in all of the NFL, so I don't think that's going to be an issue for him to really adjust to that. So 2 really good picks right there on the offensive line.
Levi, last one. What should we be seeing, or what's our takeaway with all the undrafted free agents? I mean, this is a massive group. And look, you got to bring in people because you got a football business, you got a company, you got to bring in players. I get it. A lot of the guys are not going to be here that they brought in. Some will. Some, there might be a diamond in the rough. You're in the building. You study the roster. What should you tell the fans about the enormity of these undrafted free agents and how you're going to sift through it to see who can make the football team?
Really, I mean, plays are going to have to be made. The play on the field speaks for itself. The one thing that I do love about Pete Carroll is he, as we all know, he loves to compete. And these are just not UDFAs that are come in and, be camp bodies and just, be wished away to the practice squad or be gone once the season is up and, spots are already guaranteed. Pete Carroll is going to let each one of these guys compete for a spot. And everyone is on the same playing field. They're going to have to come in and they're going to have to, put in the same work that the starters of this team have already put in. There's going to be no exclusions. There's not going to be any sort of, favoritism towards anybody. And so I think with Pete Carroll, leading your team, I feel really good for these UDFAs to come in and really set the tone and show that they can compete. I really do like a couple of the people that will come in, and obviously I'll go more into who those people are once they are officially revealed by the Raiders. I will say this, there is one corner from a school in the Midwest that is rumored to be coming here, and he, in my opinion, should have not been undrafted. This is a guy that should have been long gone in the draft. And I'm really excited to see what he can do on the field. I'm not going to give away too much of it because I want to wait until the names are officially released. But he's a kid. He's a corner, went to a school out in the Midwest, maybe in a state with a division rival or next to a state with a division rival. And I do not think that he should have been undrafted. And I'm really excited to see him prove himself.
Good. We'll look for that in an upcoming article. I know you did WrestleMania. Are you going to do Post Malone and Jelly Roll? Is that your scene, or are you going to pass on that?
You know what's crazy is I'm not a huge country music fan of the modern era. I do like country music, but I like old school, like Dolly Parton, like George Strait. Like Hank Williams country music. That's kind of like more my thing. I don't really like modern country music. But the two modern country music artists that I do like that I will listen to is Luke Combs and Jelly Roll. I actually do like them. And I do like Post Malone. I've actually already been to a Post Malone show when he performed that day in Vegas a few years ago, and I really enjoyed that. So if the opportunity presents itself, I'll be there.
Yeah, that sounds like if you get a free ticket, you'll go. That's the opportunity presents himself. You live in Vegas. Those opportunities happen a lot. I will see you in the building next week. Great analysis as always.
I appreciate it, JT. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, Levi Edwards will know the players better than I do. He'll know the undrafted guys. He's in the building. That's his job. I direct everybody to Levi Edwards on the Raiders channels, on everything that he's able to do there. Stevie G in Oakland, hardcore Oakland. Go ahead, Stevie.
Hey, how you doing, JT?
Doing good. Thanks for waiting.
Yeah. Well, congratulations to your son, first off, for doing a huge thing.
Appreciate that.
And then next, for sure. And then next, with I'll say two things. One, with the Warriors, I'm not saying I agree with it, but I think I understand it just because they're an older team, and they're facing an athletic, youthful team there that can just beat them to the ball. So I'm thinking that what they did is they said, hey, let's see if we got an energy pop enough to carry it. If we don't, we need to make sure that we close things out on the home base, the next night when our backups, because usually backups play better at home, where our backups will be able to come in with some force.
Okay.
That's all I'll say about it. And then getting to the Raiders, I did like the draft. I'm going to focus on the synergy between Spytek and Carroll. I think we've got something. I think we've got what I believe that even Al was looking when he was putting Bruce Allen and a younger Gruden together, which was, let's get the system together, let's bring in the next generation, let's solidify it, and now let's move forward. And I do believe that's what we have now. This draft looked really solid. I like the focus of those, as Levi mentioned, those 2 third-round tackles, or at least offensive linemen, maybe one tackle, one guard. because I believe that's what the Raiders' identity is. I think it was Otto, Upshaw, Shell. I just believe in the Raiders and their offensive line. So when we have a strong offensive line, I think that carries us. It always has.
Yeah. Good
So
point.
I was So I was really, really happy about that. And then of course, I will just call it the Al Davis pick. I believe Thornton, that 4th round pick, was an all Al Davis ode to, the genius of the Raiders. And so really happy about that selection. Would love to see all of these rookies. And I love this about Pete Carroll. They're all going to get their chance to prove what they can do on the field this year, not 2 years from now.
Yeah.
This year.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's it, man.
you.
Hey, thank you so much.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Appreciate it, Steve. In Oakland. Good to hear from Oaktown when it comes to that. Yeah, Thornton, a 6'5", 4'3" guy. So in theory, he runs as fast, if not faster, than Trey Tucker, and he's 6'5" all day. The reason why I wanted the Raiders to get a 6'3" wide receiver is goal line. Sometimes on 1st and goal at the 4, you take a sack and it's 2nd and goal at the 12. I like to see a guy throw a fade route to a guy who's 6'3". We got a guy who's 6'5", who can get up even higher and make a catch. Needed that. We don't have that. Jacoby Myers is very good in red zone. Yeah, Brock Bowers is outstanding, but you got to have a guy who's going to get one-on-one coverage. Besh and Thornton are rookies. They're not going to get double-teamed. Brock Bowers is elite. He gets double-teamed as a rookie. These guys probably won't. So you're going to have 2 guys that you can throw to in the red zone who will be in single coverage. I mean, just imagine this for a second. Close your eyes unless you're driving. 1st down, 1st and goal at the 9. Remember Derek and Waller, 1st and goal at the 9 in Cincinnati? And we didn't throw the ball to Waller. Remember that? Yeah. Remember that? I almost put my head through the wall. We're going to have 1st and goal at the 9. And here's what we're going to have. Ashton Genty single back. Far left is going to be Thornton. Inside of him is going to be Jacoby Myers. Tight end is going to be Brock Bowers. Next to him in the other slot could be Trey Tucker. And then far wide is going to be Besh. I mean, that's unbelievable. Unbelievable. So you're going to spread out the defense from sideline to sideline with a 6'5" guy and a 6'2.5", 3 guy. And then you're going to have Genty if he gets the ball. And you're going to have all those safeties and corners spread out and might be able to bust a touchdown in. I think the Raider offense is going to be completely different and hopefully much better, because last year the offense was terrible because the Raiders were dead last in rushing. When you're dead last in rushing and you can't rush the ball, I don't know what to tell you. Astrum, you see the headsets I have on, YouTubers? These are the best I've ever had. I have noise cancellation. I feel like I'm in space. The greatest headphones I've ever experienced. Go to AshtronTech.com, ASTRUM Tech.com. Put in the code word JT. They give you 20% off. It's amazing.
Here's what you missed on Unnecessary Roughness.
We said we were going to do this. If
All right,
Ashton
I'm going to
Genty
say goodbye.
was the
We
selection
did an
at
hour
number
today.
6,
I
if he
did an
became a member
hour
of the Silver and Black,
YouTube
we were
with
all
Mooney.
going to make sure
I
we're
did
all on the same page
40 minutes
how
with
to
Coach
say his
JB.
name. We're
from
going to
Last
get it right
Chance
because
U.
I think we're excited
No
about
mas.
the selection of
No
Ashton
mas.
Genty. So we're going to at least give him the respect
Roberto
to make sure that
Duran
we get
said,
his
no
name
more,
right.
no mas.
Unnecessary Roughness with
Thank
your boy
you. We have
Q,
a special
weekdays at
Friday
2
show
on
for you
Raider
tomorrow.
Nation Radio,
Thank you
9:20
very much.
a.m.
And,
When it comes to trucks,
yeah, that's it.
Chevy's
Appreciate
reputation
everybody.
is legendary.
Thank you.
Led by the powerful Silverado. Choose from 9 trims.